Yes, team, and welcome to today's training. So, today, in true Freeman style, a lot of what I'm going to say is going to highly contradict itself. But the fact that it's going to do that, I actually think is really, really interesting. And it almost explains and redefines to me why Unbreakable is what it is. So when I just did fitness and nutrition, why it didn't work, and I still never felt truly fulfilled or happy, and why you can't just work on this mindset stuff and the personal development and the growth without the health and fitness and also still feel fulfilled. So I think people put all the eggs in one basket, so to speak. So we might go down a road of, and this is why I've said this so many times, this is almost going back to 2013, 14, 15 when my journey started, and why I really got into personal development and mindset and mental health, not just because of the struggles, but because I realized it was a key element that was missing. Now, the reason why I say this is I know some people who have the best physiques in the world, and they are miserable as fuck. There we go. 5 minutes in, first F-bomb. I also know some multi-millionaires who are miserable as hell. I also know some people who are very mentally well and are into personal growth, mindset, they're motivated, they're present, but they're in really bad shape. So they're not going to live. This is the classic, I might be fat, but I'm happy. So they're not going to be able to live the life that they want long term because they will encounter health problems. Now, probably thinking, where the hell is he going with all of this? So for me, this is why it contradicts, and this is why you need all three, not to focus on one. So an unbreakable mindset for me is about having limitless energy for life, for your love and relationships, for your career, for exercise, for your children, for everything in life. I said this on a reel that was released last week. Energy is everything. If your energy is on point, you attract everything. You'll attract good energy, other positive people, positive experiences, positive conversations. If your energy is low, by default, you will attract low energy people, low energy conversations, and low energy experience. Now, when we go so deep into this process of talking about thoughts, become beliefs, become behaviors that create our personal reality, that then create our life. But also, when I kind of journaled this out, because we're talking about energy, and energy is everything. If you don't have good energy, then you're not really going to do well in any area of life. You'll always struggle. You'll always feel low. That's what ready to get shot down again. But again, to me, depression is just the very, very extreme end of low energy. It's a state problem. It's an emotional state. As I've said this, it's not a disease. You can't blood test for it. It's an emotional state of low energy. Now, 75%, I believe, of good energy, and this is just a Freemanism, I think it comes down to self-worth, self-image, and self-confidence. And all of those come from having an elite level of self-care. So the key to good energy is having an elite level of self-care. So this is our morning routine. This is getting to bed on time. This is stopping how much time we're scrolling on social media. It's operating from a positive mind place. It's being kind to other people and everything in between. But it's also about putting yourself in the driving seat for life. You know, trying to be in that driving seat with low energy is like trying to run a car with barely any fuel in it, barely any oil, barely any air in the tires. It's going to struggle and then it's going to break down very quickly. So the two reasons why this sounds contradictory is because most people, for me, will sit and go, oh no, it's all about self-image, it's all about fitness, it's all about nutrition, it's all about X, Y, and Z. Or no, it's just all about mental health. Or no, it's just all about mindset. Or it's all about energy. To me, it's all about all of them. So we need to analyze which area we're lacking in. Because as I said, and I've massively done this, in those of you who've been here a long time have seen this with me so many times. So you become all about the career, all about the business, all about the money, all about the long hours, and ultimately your health and fitness will drop off. Or you do crazy things like training to run 200 miles, 100 miles twice, 10 marathons in 30 days in a 16 kilogram weighted vest, and whatever stupid shit I've done in the last 3 years that's battered my body into the middle of next week. And ultimately there's a massive knock-on consequence with business. Why? Energy. And this is why I'm going back to energy is everything. So it all comes from everything in life stems from energy. Confidence comes from energy. It's very difficult to operate calmly in any area of life, excuse me, when your energy's low. This is why, who's ever been in this situation, whether it's like, random tasks, right? Packing your cases to go on holiday, completing a piece of work, writing an email, sending a letter, anything. And you've got this task that's relatively big, but not too big. And you're trying to do it at 9 o'clock at night. And it feels like writing a dissertation. Just like when you're trying to go to the gym at 8 o'clock at night, it feels like it's technically going to be the equivalent of climbing Mount Everest just to go and do a 45-minute gym session. Yet when you get up in the morning, the nutrition plan that felt like writing a dissertation to me all of a sudden took me 20 minutes. I packed my suitcases for holiday in less than half an hour. I got up and went to the gym, no problem at all. That's one of the best analogies of energy, because it only seems so difficult at night because your energy's low. So we have to think of ways, how can we protect our energy and how can we generate energy? Because when energy's on point, everything is on point. And as I said, this is why it's a little bit contradictory, because everyone goes down one road or the other. And to me, this elite level of self-care, which creates this elite level of energy, is 50% mind and 50% body. So another great example here is you can feel when energy is great in a room, right? This is why our events are amazing. Have you ever got like in that situation where you got into a room and it's like, fuck yeah, no, I don't want to be in here. Like people say, oh, you could hear a knife drop, or, you know, it's just a very, very uncomfortable atmosphere. Normally at a wedding. That's energy. And you can go to an event, like you look at something like Peter's events or Robin's events or, you know, Mindset Mastery, or when us guys meet up on the events and you're like, oh my God, I came away from that. And that was, turn this brightness up a little bit. Came away from that and it was amazing. I feel incredible. When we did Lake Bottomere, people didn't want to leave. They didn't want to go home. Why? Because the fucking energy was great. That's why. So we want to create this energy ourselves. And we also want to create this unwavering confidence that comes from this elite level of self-care. But it also comes down to who we're hanging around with as well. We've said this before so many times. So environment trumps will. Energy is everything. An elite level of self-care to both the mind and the body. That's the difference. So many people, when you think elite level of self-care, put your hand up virtually or in. If you think elite level of self-care just means fitness, because that's what it would initially come to my mind. This is why I screwed my head up a little bit doing this training. Because elite level of self-care, to me, initially, I think fitness, nutrition, training, health, and exercise. Whereas an elite level of self-care of the mind is exactly the same. An elite level of self-care of choosing who you spend your time around is exactly the same. That's an elite level of self-care to your environment. So once we've boxed all these things off, as I said, this is a bit of a brain hash training this. I've been kind of going backwards. So we know this now. Control your thoughts, protect your energy, an elite level of self-care. Now, the other key thing that I really want you guys to be on now for the rest of this year. I've asked a few people this question in the last week, and the answer was a bit of I don't know. We have to have a laser sharp focus on what we want. I think so many of us, including myself, drift in and out of this. Drop me a yes on, drop me a drift on the replay if it's you. So we it's going back to what we discussed on last week's training, right? We get fired up, we get focused, we're in the stage of uninformed optimism. As I said last week, the new gym leggings, the new trainers, the new gym membership, the new coach, and we get focused on what we want. But then within weeks, we've lost motivation. But we didn't lose motivation, we just got distracted. Remember, we never lose motivation. We just get distracted. One person who's going to smile now when I say this. We get distracted by other people's bullshit. Yep, she's smiling. No one can see who it is on the replay because you can't see your guys' things. Now she's laughing. So we go back to this, right, guys? Stop being a walking alarm bell for other people's agendas. I've done that this week alone, so I get it. I'm not calling you out. But when we lose focus of what we want, Nat actually said this to me just this morning when we've been talking. So don't think that I don't do it as well. 2 very long stories I told her yesterday about people, and she went, "Why the F are you getting involved in their bullshit? What's it got to do with you?" I was like, "Oh yeah." She went, honestly, I was bored listening to you, Lee. I don't care about X and their life and what's going on. I'm like, that's really cool. And I needed that handed to me. But this happens that doesn't just happen by default because you're a person who likes getting involved in other people's bullshit. That happens because you're not focused on the dreams. You're not focused on the goals. You've lost sight. And if you have, go back and either do designing your dream life from Mindset Mastery or the private Zoom link that I sent with the password in the groups, because that's probably the biggest thing you need to do. If you've started to feel a little bit like this, like I have this week, you have to go back and get clear on what it is you want. So we're laser focused on what we want, so we can make our goals bigger than our problems. Hands up if you have a habit of making your problems bigger than your goals. Double hands up if you have a problem, if you have the habit of spending more time talking about your problems than your goals. Yeah, good. See, we're all the same. Because that comes down to what we choose to focus on. Spent a lot of time last week focusing on other people's problems that weren't even any of my business, weren't even you guys, people outside of the community. Sometimes you just need that snap to say, what are you doing? Why are you getting involved in that? It's nothing to do with you. And the only reason you're getting involved in it, and maybe not going to the gym or whatever, or creating bad energy, is because you've either stopped that elite level of self-care, you've stopped protecting your environment, you've stopped protecting who you listen to, and you've lost focus on what it is you want. So let's all get back on that today. As soon as I get off this live, I'm going to do a big 20, 30 minute journaling session on refocusing on what it is that I want. What do I want to have happen in the rest of this year? What do I want to have happen in 2025? What do I want to have happen today? So, another key factor for this, and this is why I said it's contradictory as F, but I'll try and make it make sense. So, when we get laser focused, right, you guys know I want that villa that's right over there. You know, we all want healthy, loving relationships. We all want a prosperous future. We all want a healthy mind, a healthy body, our loved ones to be happy, whatever it is for you. But very often, this is why it's a fine line to understand, is we can't always look outside of us for what we want. We have to look inside of us first. And this was a really open conversation that I had with someone this week, that, you know, you guys know my spin on relationships. We can't look for another person to make us happy and put that responsibility on them. That's when a relationship becomes a transaction, not love and connection. So we're looking, and I've battled this for many years, guys. So if you feel that way, please feel okay with it. You know, very much needy little boy syndrome, inner child syndrome, needing to be loved, needing to be validated. And when you're trying to get that thing from outside of you, which is why I mean it's a bit contradictory about the villas and stuff, you're kind of chasing a never-ending road. So it's important that we fix what's inside of us first to attract the things that we want that's outside of us. Does that make sense? Because if we've got chaos in here, we'll have chaos in the outer world. So let's fix ourselves first and then look outside of us. Because the reality is, when we do go on this journey of reprogramming our thoughts every day, getting refocused on our goals every day, creating new beliefs, because we know that new thoughts lead to new beliefs that need to lead to new behaviors, that lead to a new life. So when we reprogram them from inside, that's when the outer world will start to match the inner world. But when you've often done what I have, which is really trying to get everything that you want in the outer world, this is why we try and fix people. This is why we try and change people. This is why we get into arguments. This is why we get angry. This is why we experience resentment and frustration. Because we're that focused on trying to get everyone and everything out there to align with how we need it to be in order for us to feel happy, complete and full, that we forget about, actually, I've got chaos in my own head at the moment. Maybe I should fix that before I start trying to fix other people. Because we're all mirrored. We're all mirrors, you know that. You know, if we're not, we're a little bit cranky, then we're going to react. Why do we react? Because our energy's low. There you go. Told you it would all make sense and go right back to the beginning. This is why it's like a ping, 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 ping domino. Like, we can't just do the one thing. Like, sort your energy out. This comes from an elite level of self-care. Then work on the inner world. Then that's when the other things will start to align. And as I said, it all comes from reprogramming your thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, actions, which change your life. But we have to get again, good energy and an elite level of self-care, but with no laser focus on what we want, we're still going to feel lost. Oh, I'm happy as Larry, me. Happy as Larry. Life's good, feel energetic, feel confident, but every day I just don't really know what I'm doing. And then we'll slip back. I see this time and time again. We slip back to accepting your current circumstances or settling for your current circumstances. This is what I see with so many people. They get the laser focus. Hands up if you've done this. I've done this so many times I can't even put it into words. We get the laser focus. We're sharp. We're ready to go. And then within weeks, it's dropped off. So we have to have I would like write this down as like, if I can now put in my morning what needs to happen, right? Oh, actually, I think most of these questions are in the planner. No pun intended. I actually just realized that myself. What's my energy like? That's the question in the planner, isn't it? How am I feeling physically? How am I feeling mentally? What can I do to adjust this state, to change this state? So if it's low, it needs fixing. Don't just fly into the day without fixing it. So we're thinking, what's my energy like this morning and what can I do to change it? Am I clear on what it is I want to achieve today? And have I got laser focused on my day and my planning so I don't spend up all day getting caught up in pointless argument and other people's BS? And that's it. It's fairly simple, isn't it? With the planning. It sounds almost sarcastically simple when I say it like that. But I've stopped doing that on numerous days. And I know some of you have too. So hopefully it serves as a great reminder. Because this is what leads to, and I love this phrase about us wanting to move from surviving to thriving. When we're surviving, that's when we slip back. Because it all starts to feel a bit pointless. Have you experienced that? You're kind of half doing the work. You're half focused on the goals. You're half kind of training, half doing food, half doing mindset. Everything's kind of half. So you've not slipped back into the pit, as we called it, but we've not also gone over the pit. So this is when we don't start to see the rewards. Because we haven't gone from surviving to thriving. We've gone from surviving and then just half doing everything on top of that. And to thrive is to move to living a life that we love. And in order to live a life that we love, we need to be focused on it every day, every morning, every night, and every minute we've got. So get shrewd with blocking out pointless distractions. Get shrewd with dropping out other people's BS. Because if not, we'll all start to allow our old behaviour patterns to steal away our future. because we slip back. So, as a tiny reset today, I want us to do this as a team, guys. You know, the team thing's really important to me. So let's visualize today what we want to have happened by the end of 2024, sorry. Like there's already I feel this myself. So you guys do as well. And so does the world. Even I'm still slipping into this kind of 2024 is kind of coming to an end. Like weird emotionally, isn't it? With the clocks going back this week and now it's in November. So that means not long and it's December. And then Nat and I were going through our diaries for Logan yesterday and it's like there's loads of stuff in for him in November. And before you know it, November's going to be gone. And then before you know it, it's going to be into December. And it's so easy now to lose focus and drift. But the reality is we've still got, well, today, 4th of November, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 weeks until Christmas. So let's get clear on the 7.5 weeks that we have until Christmas. What do we want to have happen? And then obviously we're all going to do end of December. I'm going to do a new and updated Designing Your Dream Year training when we'll be getting ultra clear together on a Zoom and doing it. So there's accountability. So you can't hide. And we'll all do it together and start working on the Dream 2025. But before we do that, let's work on boxing off the Dream 2024. Because there's a lot of time left. So how do you want to look and feel? How do you want your energy to be? Who do you need to spend more time around? Who do you need to spend less time around? What do you need to focus more of your time towards? What do you need to stop getting dragged into? How do you want your body to look? How do you want your business to look? How do you want to show up? How many times are you going to train? How many runs are you going to do? Are you committed to coming and doing the run on the 7th of December? Are you committed to Mam Tour on the 23rd? Have you planned the rest of this year? Because if not, it's going to get pretty overwhelming pretty fast. That's what I realised yesterday with how much stuff is in the diary between now and Christmas. If I'm not very sharp on getting on top of food, training, business and everything else, it's going to become very, very overwhelming. Purely because there's just more on, isn't there? And this is what I don't want to have happen for you guys. All of a sudden, there's this overwhelm of Lapland, bonfire night, Halloween, 2 birthdays, Christmas, Boxing Day, Mam Tour, the run, and a whole load of other stuff that I could list. And it's like, fucking hell, that's a lot to do. And when we get like this, what's the first thing that we let go of? We stop tracking food, we stop exercising, and we stop doing personal development, we stop journaling, we stop planning, we stop focusing on our goals. Because there's other stuff going on. And it's a one-way road backwards. It's happened to me and I see it happen so many times. So just don't let that happen in the next 7 weeks. So as I've said before, when it's next year or this year, let's really get clear on visualizing. How do we want it to look? But not just how do we want it to look? How is it going to make us feel? Not just the thing. How am I going to feel when I'm more confident? How am I going to feel when I've lost another 12 pounds? How am I going to feel when I've had the confidence to ask my boss for the pay rise? How am I going to feel when I've worked hard and I've managed to get 10 new clients in the rest of this year? And make it real. And once we've made it real and we know what we want, then we can also start to analyze, what changes do we need to make in order for that to become a reality? So once you've got clear on exactly what you want to have happen in the next 7 weeks, we can run these questions. Remember, questions are the steering wheel of the mind. So we understand about elite self-care. We understand about energy. We understand that we need to get laser focused on our future. We understand that we need to visualize what we want and get clear on it. Then we need to look at making it real and not just visualizing it, but believing it's real. And then I want you to run these questions again. So in order for the next 7 weeks to be the best, what's better than that, by the way? What is better than us planning now to make the last 7 weeks of 2024 the best fucking 7 weeks of this year? We can all focus on that today, or we can focus on, what did Paul Mort describe it as? Looking at life through the shit-coloured filter and stressing about everything that's going on. We'll only be stressing about everything that's going on in the world and other people when we're not laser focused, as I said. But in order for the last 7 weeks of 2024 to be the best 7 weeks of 2024, we need to know what that looks like. And it's not just going to get handed to us on a silver plate. We need to get clear on what that needs to look like. So, questions. What changes do we need to make in the next 7 weeks? What current habits do we need to do more of? And what current habits do we need to do less of? Those of you who came to, in fact, I don't know if it got recorded. I did it a long time ago. I'll replan this full training because it's what Ryan Holiday calls non-growth habits, or the not to-do list. As well as creating a to-do list, most people would actually move further forward creating a not to-do list. Let me just see if I can find mine from years ago. Here we go. The beauty of being paperless. So, what's the date on this? 2017. I'll redo this whole training. I don't think any of you were here in 2017. Dan Sullivan, sorry, not Ryan Holiday. So Dan Sullivan said you are 100% committed to your current set of habits. And what we are currently doing in life is what we are committed to. Excuse me. So some people will be committed to making excuses, because your actions will show you what you're committed to. Show me your habits and I'll show you your results. Because if we're 100% committed to our current habits, because this is the kicker, if we weren't committed to it, we wouldn't be doing it. You don't do anything that you're not committed to. So you can be committed to having good energy and being a positive influence on the world and helping, supporting other people and being kind and compassionate to every other human and not allowing negative thoughts to enter your head. Or you can be committed to moaning, blaming, complaining and justifying and getting caught up in other people's BS. Whichever one is happening, you're committed to, whether you choose to believe it or not. That can't be denied. So I'll go through this really quickly. Some of you are going to laugh your head off now. Oh God, it's so embarrassing actually. All success or failure is based on habits. Habits are the stuff that you habitually do, i.e. subconsciously, i.e. without thinking. So take charge of your habits and you'll take charge of your life. Now, here we go. Here are Lee's 2017 non-growth habits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 habits I wrote down that I wouldn't have to do anything extra to move forward. I just needed to stop doing these things. Number 1, drinking. Number 2, taking drugs. Number 3, gambling. Number 4, staying up late watching shit on TV. Number 5, eating crap after the weekend. Number 6, procrastinating. Number 7, blaming, complaining and justifying. Number 8, not planning. Number 9, not asking people for help when I'm struggling. Number 10, selling lies. Number 11, looking for quick and easy options to achieve what I want to achieve. Hitting snooze. Chasing people who can't be asked to reply. Multitasking. Checking my phone all the time. Getting caught up in WhatsApp group chats. Not being present. Watching crap on TV. Taking things personally and making it all about me. Sneezing on live videos. Answering messages as soon as they come through to my phone. Doing shit gigs for shit money because it would be a good party. So all of those things, and some of them have still shown up in the last 8 years since then. But so think today, and you can do this before setting your goals. Because no matter how big the goals are, we have to have the habits to get them. As I said, show me your habits and I'll show you your future. So drill into that today as well. Not just what, because if you're already feeling a little bit stressed and overwhelmed, then adding more into an already full diary just makes it worse. So sometimes, whether it's mindset or actual things, what do I need to do less of? Actually, I'm not quite as busy as I thought I was. So, back to what we were talking about. So we create 2 lists now. Not just what do we need to do more of? What do we need to do less of? Who do we need to spend? I'll say slowly again so you can write it down, especially if you're watching it on replay. So, what changes do I need to make in life to support my goals? Question 1. What do I need to do more of to support my goals? What do I need to do less of to support my goals? What beliefs do I need to let go of to support my goals? What beliefs do I need to create to support my goals? And we know where beliefs come from. Thoughts. A belief is just a repetitive thought. Who do I need to spend more time around? Because I know that environment trumps will. And who do I need to spend less time around in order to support my goals? What current habits do not support the new life where I want to move from surviving to thriving? And what new habits do I need to develop? So we could actually split this. Don't know what that is. We could split this into 2 lists. In fact, yes, let's do this. So let's get a piece of paper out. Old school, or preferably an iPad if you're paperless. Draw a line right down the middle of the piece of paper. And let's do two lists. On the left, growth habits. I really want to do some interactive trainings for you guys where we do this live. Growth habits on the left and non-growth habits on the right. So don't do it now, but for accountability, comment #replay if you're watching on replay. And don't be a child and hide in your bedroom. You all have pens, you all have papers, you're all watching. Jan, stop laughing. So draw the list, very simple, and take a photo of it and send it to me on WhatsApp for accountability. So we've got two lines, two columns, growth habits and non-growth habits. This will be amazing for highlighting what we need to let go of and what we need to do more of. So, after we have changed these habits, changed these beliefs, created new thoughts that have created new beliefs that have led to new behaviours and actions that have led to a new reality, that's when you're going to feel inspired. But it all starts from inside. It all starts from doing the inner work. It all starts from getting the laser focus on what it is that we want. And until we do that first, we can't move forwards. So what happens so often is we do the laser focus, right? We get laser focused on what we want. This is why, I don't know the exact figures on this, but I think the personal development, coaching and mindset industry in the world is worth something in the region of £17 billion. A lot of money. And in the region of 75% of those plans don't get completed, don't even get opened, or don't get past the first 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, and the reason is because the person got that plan when they were laser focused. Well, they either got it when they were laser focused, when motivation was high, when they were in uninformed optimism. You know, the last time you signed up for a fitness plan and quit after a week. They did it through impulsivity, maybe because they were in a position of deep pain. But they didn't think about what needed to change within them, the inner world, to get the result. They just thought, as so many people who have done to me in the past, who then probably slagged me off. Yes, I know who you are. Only kidding. Kind and compassion to all people. Because they thought that the second they'd paid the money, that the result was theirs. And that's why it's a $17 billion industry. That's why 75% of them are unopened. Because we have to look at these things in order to change as well. You can have the best mindset plan and coach, the best nutrition plan and coach, the best training plan and coach. You guys watching already have that. Confidence, see? Confidence. Wouldn't have dared say something like that. Oh God, I'm going to cringe saying that. No, that's not you, that's your ego. But you have to be willing, you have to change your habits. You have to change your actions. You have to change your thoughts. You have to change your behaviors. You can't just have the plan and the thing and get the results. And that's where so many people go wrong. Right, that's the laser focus. That's what I want. Great. Right, who do I need to help me? Lee. Right, brilliant. I've got the plan. Fuck. What now? Whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 weeks. So it has to be the combination of those two things. Like, I can't move forward in business in certain areas without a business coach because I don't have that knowledge. But I can't just, and I've done this myself, so I get it. I can't just give the business coach the money and expect to get the result without changing my own habits and behaviors and work rate and energy and how I show up, which comes from an elite level of self-care. You can see how this is just like a circle that's going round and round and round and round. Maybe just in my head, but hopefully it makes sense. So we have to be willing to change these habits and these behaviors. The two things have to support each other like a relationship. So focus on what it is that we want. Get clear on it. But then, as well as having the plan, what actions, habits, and behaviors need to change in order to move towards it. What ones need to go and what ones need to do more of. And you can run that with almost, I was thinking about that then when I was talking about it. You can run that with almost every process in life, can't you? There's like a yin and a yang. Like, what's the one thing in that area that I need to spend more time around? So who's the person I need to spend more time around? Who's the person I need to spend less time around? What's the habit I need to do more of? What's the habit I need to let go of? What's the action I need to do more of? What's the thoughts that I need to do more of? Because we all have them. I've said this so many times before. People talk about ADHD and autism and bipolar and everything in between. Like, granted, maybe not as far as me, but everyone is on the spectrum at some place. If not, the spectrum can't exist. It's the same as love and hate. It's the same as happy and sad. It's the same as fear and courage. Just all at different places. Does that make sense? So it's just which bits do we need to push more towards of and which bits do we need to let go of? And then the final bit that I really want to drive home here is how to stop looking for the outer world to make us happy. I know I've said this already on this training, but how to stop looking for the outer world to make us happy and just really focusing on the inner world first. Because when we do, the pictures will match up. And this just goes back to what I've been probably hankering on about for the last 5 to 6 weeks now. The visualization and the meditation and the daily resets and the thinking that we already have it, placing the order of our life from Amazon. As we said, we wouldn't be sat back thinking, I wonder if that iPhone charger that I ordered earlier is going to come this week, or no, I've been waiting a few days now. It's probably not going to come. Same with the mindset stuff. So when we talked about that, it's like ordering your future from Amazon. And this is the difference between just the visualizing, the wanting, the laser focus, and the actual feeling that it's already yours. Because it's so easy to slip back. And I certainly did that last week. To a limit anyway, not completely, because I'm pretty locked in with my meditations now. It's become a habit. I had that. Done it for nearly 30 days and it's just become a habit. Get into my bed, I don't turn Netflix on. I put my phone on and I've got my meditations. In fact, I'll put the ones that I've bought in the WhatsApp group today. Not YouTube ones. So it's getting to that point when, and I will never stop going on about this now, finding how to believe it's already yours. Knowing that that order is going to show up. Because this is what makes you so infectious. I knew I'd get back to my point. This is what makes you stop chasing. If you're single and you're chasing love, stop chasing love, start becoming love. If you're in a business and you're chasing money, stop chasing money and just understand that you are money. The same with success. Because when you start to operate from that place, like if I had 4 sales calls today, right? And I got up this morning and I knew that every single one of those calls was going to convert at £3,000 or £5,000. How would I be operating today? How confidently would I go into that call? If I really wanted to text Amanda Holden and ask her out and I knew she was going to say yes, how quickly would I send the text? Joking, by the way. Let that one go now. It's not for me anymore. Do you get what I'm saying? If you knew that you were going to have the body 90 days from now, how consistently would you be going to the gym and tracking your food? If you knew it was going to come. It's not about the wishy-washy manifestation. Oh, ding. If I believe it, it'll just be real. I'm going back there, and I know I keep reiterating this point, but it's so important to me. It's believing it on the level that you're just inspired to do the work. Those of you who are avoiding doing the work that you need to do on your businesses, and you know this, the magic or your bodies or your relationships. The magic you are looking for lies in the work you keep avoiding, the conversations that you keep avoiding, the actions that you keep avoiding. And the only reason that you avoid the conversation, you avoid going to the gym, you avoid jumping on the sales call, you avoid doing the Facebook post, you avoid asking your boss for a pay rise, you avoid having the difficult conversation with your partner, you avoid all of those things for one single reason. You don't believe you're going to get the outcome that you want. So you show up scarce, weak, afraid, no confidence, because you don't believe the thing that you're going for is possible. And guess what? When you show up like that, you don't receive it. So it's getting to that place. Think about going into a job interview, right? How, and this can backfire sometimes, by the way, guys. But how would you show up if you knew the job was yours? How would you show up on social media if you've got a business that relies on social media, if you knew that each post was going to lead to a sale? That's what it's about. And you have to get yourself to that place daily. It won't just, battery's going to run out. It won't just happen. It takes focus. It's the same as anything. Like I said, reps. Reps of belief. Because it's when you really believe that you're going to get what you want, that's when you stop quitting. That's when you're constantly inspired to show up and do the work. Because there's 2 types of people in this world. People who are inspired and people who aren't. And we'll get to a point in life, and this is a choice. if we don't focus on and get clear on being pulled by inspiration, then at some point we'll end up in the place where we're being pushed by desperation. So you could be, this is just a random example now. You could be a person who is maybe a stone overweight of where you want it to be. And you could either wait until you get 13 stone, 14 stone, 15 stone. Oh shit, I can't walk up the stairs without getting out of breath. Oh shit, I dread every single social thing. Oh fuck, none of my clothes fit. Oh bollocks, I'm not even having sex with my partner anymore because I don't want to get dressed in the dark. Real world situations. And then you will be pushed by desperation and pain. By the way, that person also is the person that the clever people on social media pick up on very quickly because they know they're in pain. So they write all these posts highlighting your pain points and then highlighting the problem, how they solve it below. Or when we're at that same point, we can be pulled by inspiration. So I don't want to make the money because I need to get out of debt. I want to make the money because I want to take my son to Disneyland. I want to take him to Lapland. One's desperation, one's inspiration. I'm going to go to the gym because I want to train hard, because I want to be able to bench press 100 kg. I want to be able to run a marathon. And I want my body to be so sexy that my wife wants to rip my clothes off the second that I walk through the door after work. And I want to be proud taking my shirt off on holiday with my son. And him saying, wow, all his mates going, wow, look at his dad's in good shape, isn't he? All of those things are pulled by inspiration. We go the other way. It's like, God, I need to make more money because I'm in debt. God, I'm going to have to get in shape because I'm scared to even take my top off anymore. Oh my God, I can't believe I went on holiday and everyone just laughed and said how much weight I'd gained. We have the opportunity to go in one of those places in any other area of life. Again, the same in relationships. You know, we can have the slightly difficult conversation now, or you can wait 3 months until it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, until you have to have the conversation because it got so bad that you didn't have the conversation when you could have done earlier. So, very fast recap. This week's tasks. Understand that an unbreakable mindset is having limitless energy for life and everything in it, including all people. Remember, they're not good or bad people, they're just people and everyone's doing their best. Stay in your own lane. Don't get caught up in other people's BS. A high percentage of having an unbreakable mindset comes from self-image and confidence. But also, self-image and confidence comes from having an unbreakable mindset, which is why it's so important that we work on the mind, the meditations, the journaling, the planning, the fitness, and the nutrition. Because it's not actually contradictory. That's probably the wrong word. They just perfectly support each other. So we're then going to look at what thoughts do we need to have more thoughts of that create beliefs. So we have new beliefs become a new identity. Our new identity becomes how we behave and how we show up. In order to move from surviving to thriving and being the best possible version of ourselves, not just in the last 7 days of this week, 7 days of this week, seven weeks of this year, and 7 days of this week, both, what habits do we need to let go of? 2 columns, growth habits, non-growth habits. What beliefs do we need to let go of? What people do we need to spend more time around? What people do we need to spend less time around? What current habits are supporting the goal? And what new habits do we need to develop? So even on the growth habits and non-growth habits, Remember, there's going to be obviously the non-growth habits is going to be things that you already do. Growth habits can also be things that you already do and need to do more of, but also some new habits that you're not doing at all. Then the laser focus and the visualization. So we've protected our energy. We know that our energy becomes from an elite level of self-care. Both of those things support having a good self-image, mindset, and confidence. Then we get laser focused on what we want. Then we work on what thoughts and beliefs and habits need to happen to make that a reality. And then we focus on that every single day. But focusing on it to a level, two things I'm going to finish on here. One is focusing it on to a level, like I said, so we're constantly inspired to take action towards it. But also, the visualization is about making, I don't think anything will make your energy as infectious as being on a mission and being laser focused on working towards what you want. I see this in this was me as well, I'll be really honest. So the childhood trauma, the inner child work, the neediness, the needing to be loved, the craving affection. When you fall into that place, that's again when you're looking for the outer world to fill what's not in the inner world. And that was the journey for me of learning to love myself. Not to need anyone. I still need someone sometimes. We all do. So don't, again, feel abnormal. Everyone wants a cuddle and some affection. That's normal. But needing it to be happy is different. So I've seen this with so many people in the last few weeks as well. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here to end. But, you know, chasing someone else to make you happy is not attractive. Chasing women's not attractive. Chasing a man's not attractive. But the natural thing to do when you want that is to chase it. And it doesn't work. When you're on a mission, so we're going back to the laser focus, when you're that focused on your life, your visions, your dreams, your goals, and you're behaving like it's already yours, and you already operate, think how proud you'd be. Think how proud you'd be when you smashed it. Think how confident you'll be when you smashed it. And when you're on that mission, you know, there's nothing more attractive than a man or a woman on a mission. And then other people on a mission will gravitate towards them. And then they're all on a mission together, infested with infectious energy and confidence and self-image and vibe, and all on that same journey. But it's getting on the journey to attract what you want, not trying to attract what you want before you're on the journey. And then just to finish, as I've said, focus on and learn this process daily. It's been quite a big training today, guys. Sorry, I know there's been a lot to take in. But break down all of the parts with a pen and paper on what I've gone through on today's training. And then focus on and learn this process every day, like a baby learning to walk. So what is your elite level of self-care? I think a lot of people have lost sight of this. What does your morning routine look like? What does your evening routine look like? Are you doing the journal? Are you asking those questions in the morning? How do I feel physically today? Shit, 2. How do I feel mentally? Fuck, 1. Right, what do I need to do to change this state? Cold shower, meditate, affirmations, gratitude list, gratitude messages. Brilliant. I've moved myself from a 1 and a 2 to a 7 and an 8 within an hour of getting out of bed. That takes practice. Because if you don't catch those thoughts, you don't catch the old behaviors, you don't catch the old habits and change them, that's when we go back. And remember, your brain's been hardwired to operate the way it's operated, to think the way it thinks, to speak the way it speaks, internally and externally, and you to behave the way you have for probably the last 40 plus years, for most of us. So it's hard to change that. So as well as all the other stuff that I mentioned today, focus on what can I do to develop and learn this process daily. And like every time a child falls over, a young child, it just doesn't, this is why it's so hard. And I want you to remember this analogy forever. Think about how many times a child tries to move from a crawl to a walk. Some of us are crawling right now. And it gets up and it falls over, and it gets up and it falls over, and it gets up and it falls over, and then it figures out, actually I can use the side of the couch to try and pick me up, and it manages to use the side of the couch to get up on two legs, and then it takes one step away from the couch and it falls over again. And then it says, right, what's a different way to do this? Right, I can put my hands on the couch and I can move along the couch from left to right. And then I can keep practice, and then I've 1, 2 steps, yes, I've done it. You know, that's a long process, isn't it? It's the same as think about driving your car. Talking about children's, I've just stood on a pond bear. It's a long process, like learning to drive a car or learning to walk. We cannot, again, get on one of these trainings and listen to this mindset stuff and listen to this laser focus and all these things. And then when it doesn't show up in the real world, so to speak, within 7 days, go back to the old thoughts, the old habits, and the old behaviors. But that is what your mind will try and do without you even knowing it. So that was the big point of today's training. Because if we are not careful, the last 7 weeks of this year, we will drift back to all the old thoughts, all the old habits and all the old behaviors, and then it'll get to the 1st of January and we'll be like, what the fuck? Guys, I love you all. Have the best day. Stay unbreakable.